Heroes rise, heroes fall. I see 'em on the front line, standing tall. They're risking life and limb to answer the call. But what they fighting for? Don't know, don't care, just along for the ride. But everyone must in. I'ma make sure I'm gonna win inside.
Oh man, welcome back to the podcast, everybody.
Good to be back, fellas.
Yeah, that was we've had a couple of episodes now that were all like talking and role play, and now we just had an episode that was entirely fighting.
Epic.
Yeah.
That's what I'm talking about right there.
Yeah. Well, just to get everyone caught up, Philnir, do you want to give us just a really quick recap of what happened last time?
I would be delighted. So, after single-handedly killing Shandara, the druids and guards around her decided to attack us despite her wishes for single combat.
Those bastards.
Philnir put together Paraso, Incompetence, Spear Tip, and Shaft, and they did not go together as easily as he thought. And as he did this, one of the druids decided to heat his armor, wiping out his magical armor of Agathis and hurting him severely. Battle ensued. Abel's shield was also heated, and he had to drop it. It was a mess. It was saved by Ionis, who dropped a box, cutting off line of sight.
Wait,
and saving us from the
saved by
druids.
Ionis?
Saved by Ionis.
Yes, saved by Ionis. Exactly. That's exactly what happened.
I think we have very different memories of this event.
Oh, pish posh, don't listen to him. Keep going, keep going.
All of the guards and druids were scared of Philnir, so they could not approach. But the battle was fought. It was hard. A giant thunderclap murdered a druid. This is terrible.
No, I love it.
And Despo Goodshower was nowhere to be found. Philnir asked Paraso for help, which hypnotized Willem and one guard and made a pretty rainbow. But that's about it. Ultimately, with two guards left and one druid, they surrendered and asked to be spared. The team put their heads together with Despo, who said they were being watched by Waverly Cloudsack from his tower on high, and they decided to follow the druid, who told them that she would take them to Griggly the Satyr's hut for reasons we don't quite understand. And the team split. Despo is waiting with the archers for 3 hours, and the team has proceeded in the forest, heading toward the Breen, and has just come upon an enchanted forest with moving trees and very colorful flowers, and feels quite euphoric despite not having rested since the battle.
I'll say, despite the conspicuous omission of certain heroic deeds by other members of the party, that was a pretty decent recap.
I did forget to mention Willem stabbing that paralyzed guard in the neck. You are correct. I apologize.
Oh, Philnir, I think that spear tip is really rubbing off on you.
So you guys are staring down this path that now looks like very well trodden. So this does not look like the deer path that you were originally looking at before the druid walked into it, and then it sort of opened up into this. And you're all feeling just kind of good. Like, it's, I don't want to talk about too much. You shouldn't. You really shouldn't. But it's good. It doesn't feel like nefarious or anything. It just sort of feels like
They never do they?
like you were in a really rough fight, and now you're just in a good place, like a really good place. And the druid turns around and looks at you and says, "Well, come on, keep up. If you want to make it to the hut in 3 hours, and we have to really high step it." And she's moving like at her full 25-foot speed, which is obviously not as fast as you guys can move.
What's your name, little druid?
My name is Shinara. I know. It's very similar to my sister's name.
Boy, sounds like your parents really had a loose improv feel when they were naming you.
well, they did call me Nara. So,
Nara, how'd you end up fighting for these yahoos?
well, I mean, to tell the truth, my sister left the gnomes' forces 2 years ago when they were up on the front, and she came back and said that we had a mission to break into the Museum of Neverwinter in Lakeshire, and
What?
yeah, it was the weirdest thing. She said we have to go in and take an object from Lakeshire, and she was convinced it would be very, very easy, and we couldn't find the right time, and then just a few days ago we went there, and the place had been burgled, and the ambassador had been killed, and the authorities in town were looking all over for a half elf that they said had gone on a killing rampage, and so yeah, so we sought help to find whatever it was, and Shandara was convinced that that you, Filnir, would be able to help her find this thing, or if you weren't able to help her, then you actually had it.
And then you got both the literal and figurative shaft.
My sister
that's
has.
true.
Are you talking about the quarterstaff that my sister carried?
Yeah.
The one that she had marked up. She had that. That's been in our family for many generations, and it was one day she decided to start fighting with it, and she was never the same afterwards.
So you haven't been fighting for the Adarans for some time. You were just here for this.
Well, my sister came, and I was ready to sign up. I mean, no offense, but humans are ruining this land, and the Hark army is the army of humans, obviously, and I would love to see the humans out, but I hold no ill will against you or your people. I mostly just wanted to help my sister.
Why do you say humans are ruining this land?
I mean, aside from not keeping a clean camp.
Well, have you heard of the Battle of the Bands? Were you here for that?
No.
Yeah. I've heard about it. Gives me a good chuckle every time I think about it.
Well,
no. I'm sure it was very serious. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, do you know what it was about? The Battle of the Bands.
There's some brigands, right?
Well, that's
highwaymen on the road.
That's what Hark would like to say about it, but the truth is that we tried to claim our independence from Hark and Adair, and they put aside their differences and killed many halflings and many elves and some dwarves too, and the humans who were helping us.
Who's the we in that sentence?
I'm sorry.
You said we banded together. Who's the we?
Well, the little folk and some of the folk from the mountains.
The other little folk.
Well, yes, and there were humans also. There were humans who helped.
Shorter type humans.
Well, the humans from Breentown were quite helpful, and once the fighting started, and they realized they could survive by turning on us, then many did. I mean, you know, Lakeshire wasn't always an embassy town. Lakeshire was once a thriving city. It was the main city in this region, and now it's been taken over by the humans from the various cities in Faerun.
Can I insight check her, Tom?
Sure, give me an insight check.
11.
I mean, she seems like she's telling her truth.
Okay, her version of it. Anyway.
So yeah. Yeah.
Now, you say the Battle of the Bands, but I thought that was a battle against a particular unit that attacked us up north in Monterre years ago.
Oh, Monterre. Those are the people who helped us. It was the Monterrans who helped us. It was a group of Monterrans who said they would help us get our independence.
And they fought with you in the Battle of the Bands.
They were cut down. Yes, they were cut down along with us in large numbers.
But I don't understand. We have Monterre has not suffered.
That was in your gap year there, right? Right, Jonas.
I suppose so. There was a battle that was happening when I was on my way to Monterre, and then I lost 2 years.
You look very familiar to me, actually. What is your name, sir?
I am of the Silchavind household.
The Silverwinds.
Silchavind.
Tell me, are you the Lord's son, Lord Silhavind?
I am.
Well, he was our ally. He was helping us and achieve our independence.
You fought with my father.
Well, I never met him. But my sister did.
And you said many were cut down. What happened at the end of the battle?
Well, the ones who could get away got, and we held the tower for maybe a month, 2 moons, and then Hark took it, and then Hark lost it, and we took it back, and then we thought the Adarans were on our side, or we thought the Breentown folk were on our side, and the Breentown folk went in with the Adarans and slaughtered the ones that were left, including many of your people. Oh, we should take a left here, and she ducks under a bush, and again it's a small little path. And when she makes it through, it gets to be large enough for you guys to walk through.
Who is the gnome, and why does he fight for Adair?
Well, I assume you're speaking of the gnome on the panther.
Yeah, I mean, you just referred to him as the gnome earlier, and I assumed we were talking about the same known gnome that we both are familiar with.
Well, I've never met him, but he is bringing up the rebellion again. He trusts the Breentowners for some reason, and they have raised the army, and that's what the satyr told us. Actually, the satyr said that we should attempt to kill Filnir. Sorry, Filnir. Is that your name?
It is.
Well, he said we should get to Filnir before the gnome and the Breenies attack, because there's going to be nothing left of the fort. He said it will be a complete loss for Hark.
We've heard whispers of the oncoming danger.
So does the gnome fight for a dare?
The gnome does not fight for a dare. The gnome fights for
Gnomes.
the people of the Breen.
Eh.
And
So
I mean, don't get me wrong. I heard it before.
yeah, well,
this gnome's name is Felipe Madamba, yes?
well, this is what people call him. But he has other names as well.
Like what?
Well, we know
Give
he
us
is.
6 or 7.
Well, we know he's sometimes called the scourge of the tall folk. We know he's sometimes called Blackfoot. We know he is sometimes called Spear Chief. We know he is sometimes called the Fire from Within. And some people call him Demon Caller.
Is this person
What else is he called?
Is this person actually a gnome?
Some people call him Stands with Bear Mounts. Some people call him
Some people call me Ray J.
the undercarriage of the
Some
future.
people call me RJ.
Maurice.
Whoop woo.
Is this gnome really a gnome?
Well, I assume he's a gnome. Oh, take a right here. Duck. Big people duck. Oh, yes. Sorry about
Oh,
that.
it's in my beard.
Sorry about that. Yes. Oh, you guys now realize you have no idea where the hell you are. Like she is now taking you lefting and righting, and you feel like you're still feeling euphoric, but you're also feeling a little leery about where she's taking you.
Damn it. How much farther?
It's just up here. It's in the cluster of trees. I heard you say it would be in a clearing, but it's not in a clearing, and we don't call it Griggly Field. The thing with Griggly's hut is it is never in the same place twice.
Is it a full hut?
It's more of a half hut.
So sort of more like a pizza hut.
Yes, I would say it is a Pizza Hut. Yes, yes. I think you are right.
Just in case you forgot you were listening to the Dungeon Dads.
That's right. Yeah.
Listen, man, I gotta have the full quota of dad puns.
Yeah. Well,
And if you're not gonna let me call it Wrigley Field, I'm gonna call it the Pizza Hut.
Well, you also, Filnir, you will have to be the one to open the hut. You will need to take Shandara's shaft and jab it. Just jab it at the hut.
Well, now hold on a goddamn minute here.
You want me to Jabba the Hut?
Yeah, jab at the hut.
Jab
yes.
at the hut. Jab at the hut. Yeah.
Really don't see where this is going.
We need a
Listen,
dad joke alarm.
when we started this podcast, I was skeptical of the level of entertainment value that we would be able to provide to our listeners.
And rightly so.
Would anyone really want to listen to us playing a game of D&D together? I think we've answered that question with a resounding yes, fellas.
I think the last 4 minutes needs to be our advertisement. so you do not see a hut, but you do see a cluster of trees, and she points to a it's a small little hole that is just like looks like just like a hole where the leaves are. It's a perfect circle, and she says, "There, Jabba the staff in the hut. There."
This is Griggly the satyr who you said wanted to kill me earlier, yes?
Kill you? No. Shandara wanted to kill you, and Griggly just answers questions.
And what should we expect when we open this hut?
Well, he will be expecting my sister, I'm sure. She's been the one carrying the staff. You know, the staff hides you. Do you know that?
The
And
staff,
hides everyone around us. I didn't want to say anything when you were with your friends, but your mage in the tower cannot see you where you are while you carry that staff and anyone near you.
So as far as he knows, Despo is sitting there with some archers, all alone, for no reason.
I don't know. I don't know what he thinks, but
I see. Well, gentlemen, are you ready for whatever this?
We've walked all this way.
Jab that hut, my friend.
Well, jab of the hut.
okay.
So I'll- yeah.
So you Jabba the Hutt.
Yeah,
All right. So you
firmly holding on to the shaft.
Does it say anything? Ho 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 ho.
Paraso.
That was a shockingly good impression.
Why?
That
Why?
was-
Thank you. Why, thank you.
so the staff goes in, and you guys now see that what would look like just a long piece of very old gnarled wood. There's writing all over it that sort of glows gold when it goes into this hole in the hut. Remind me, does anyone here speak and read Sylvan?
No.
Is that something that anyone does?
Sylvan?
No,
Sylvan?
no, just Elvish.
Elvish and Dwarvish.
but not
Yeah.
Sylvan.
So you recognize if you can read Elvish, you recognize that this is kind of like super old Elvish.
Okay.
But you can't read it, but you can just sort of tell that it what it is.
Right.
And it's all over the staff. And when he puts it in the hut, you hear for the very first time, "What are you doing? Why do you do this to me?" And then it stops, and it's a voice that you have not heard before, and it is a strange accent, and it seems to come directly from the quarterstaff. And when it's all the way in, the leaves sort of open up, and there's just a very small little clearing there and a fire. And you see a sort of half man, half goat, dressed in like silk finery, yellow and red, sitting in front of the fire.
Top half man, bottom half goat.
Top half man with goat horns, bottom half goat. Why do you ask, sir?
Just curious.
Yeah.
I feel like it's a reasonable question. If we're
If
painting
it
a picture
was
with
top
words.
half goat, the conversation might be a lot more different.
Yeah, and it would be very devilish, right? And he looks up at you and he says, "Huh, not what I expected. Very interesting.
Sup, Griggs?
Oh, Abel, yes. The dwarves told me about you. The dwarves told me about you many times. You lived up on the hill, did you not? You killed a bear, did you not?
I did indeed. I did,
A guard-
regrettably.
A guardian bear, is that correct? You killed a blue glowing guardian bear.
Well, that's more of a philosophical question. If you didn't know it was a guardian bear at the time, can you really be said to have killed a guardian bear?
Yes. You are so sweet.
Wait, Abel, you killed that
And
thing?
Well, as I said, it's a philosophical question, really. But as I guess if you want to insist on it being a literal, practical question, then the answer would be yes.
That's interesting. I saw it recently. It didn't look very dead.
Well,
Well,
I'm sure
How
there's more
recently
than
is-
one in the world.
how recently is a question too?
Well,
given your
That's not a
time
question
loss.
you really want to ask Jonas over here.
It feels weird, but to me it felt like a few weeks ago when I came out of the cave they dropped me in.
You are Jonas
Jonas?
Cyverfind.
Sie Havind.
Cyverfind. I have the very thing for you in your store. Here. And he hands you this stick. And he says, you put it in the ground and you wait for the sun to hit it, and it will help you tell the time. You're welcome. What can I help you, gentlemen, with?
Don't take nothing for free.
Why are you giving me this?
It's a clock. Have you heard of a clock before?
I've heard of a sundial.
And then he slaps you as hard as he can. He goes, clock!
Ow. Oh,
What can I help you, gentlemen, with today?
all right, Filnir, if you would just stand in front of me, please.
All right, gentlemen. It's time to have a conversation that I have long been dreading. We need to figure out what we want. I came down off of that mountain with an idea to live I wouldn't say a lackadaisical life, but saw an opportunity to live maybe a more peaceful life than I was having up on the mountain. Hasn't turned out that way.
No, I suppose not.
I'm starting to feel the big wheels of history grinding on us. And I'm afraid if we don't find a way to get out of the middle of all this, we're all going to be ground.
Huh. Very perceptive. Yes, yes, yes. Again, how may I help you?
You answer questions for people.
Oh, I am very good at that. You may either allow me to answer you directly in my own way, or I can give you a wheel woe or wheel and woe answer.
A what?
That's
So
confusing.
I can either tell you in my way the answer as I see it, or I can tap directly into nature and I can answer something will be good, something will be bad, or something will be good and bad.
Oh,
Wheel, woe, wheel and woe.
oh my. More than anything, I'd like to know what happened to my father.
Your father. His life was ended with a very, very sharp knife in his foot.
His foot.
Yes. And then he fell on the ground and he screamed out, "Oh, help me, help me, help me." And he bled out over many, many hours. No one came.
That sounds awful.
Do you have any idea where that was?
It was in his home.
And do you know who did it?
I do, yes.
Can
Next, how about you, sir? Would you like to ask a question?
Who's he speaking to?
I'm talking to you, Filner.
I suppose I am still confused as to how I got wrapped up in all of this. I worked in Lakeshire at the embassy, and my embassy was attacked, as Shinara mentioned on our walk over. Are you able to see why?
There are three. There are three. And now there's two. And when the three are one, the thing will fly.
There were 3.
Yes.
Now there are 2.
Yes.
And when they are 1, the thing will fly.
Yes.
I think he's saying that spear's got a butt.
Is that what you're saying?
It has a...
Which brings up so many opportunities for puns other than just tip and shaft. It's really it's a
round
boon
it
to-
out. Take it
it's a
all the way
boon to
around.
all of us.
Yes.
I wish that that's what it was. It's merely a very, very old piece of leather.
Like me.
Do you know how to combine these two?
Do you have
I
two?
still haven't put the tip and the shaft together, so
Right. No, yes. It will only work when they're all three united.
I see.
Yes.
Do you know where I
Yes.
can find the third?
It will find you very soon. Let me quote. It will find you tomorrow.
I feel like I've heard tomorrow before. And I have it not meant tomorrow, but okay.
How about you, sir? Sorry. How
I got
about
a
you,
question
sir?
I
I mean, because he's old.
have a question. I have a question for Filnir first. Do you want that?
Do I want to put...
Do you want to put this back together? What? It seems like this has caused you nothing but pain and violence and heartache. Why not just bury the thing in the ground and walk wherever you want to go?
I'm with April, and it sounds like a very dangerous half-elf is after that thing, and I don't want to deal with that at all.
I see. Well, I do respect your opinions, gentlemen. But as I said once when we met, I owe it my life. And that is a debt I will make right.
Okay.
Well, we'll stand with you, Filnir.
I appreciate it.
I think that
I mean, depending on how liberally you want to take this, we owe a lot of people our lives, and vice versa.
Quite
I
the
don't know. This is
philosopher,
a
Abel.
currency we all want to be trading in right now.
Yes, but now I feel like I am much more capable of taking care of myself, and I was not in that situation prior.
All right,
wise words.
I've stalled long enough. I thought of the question I want to ask. How does the war end?
Well, one side or the other will leave. maybe both sides. There's
You're a fucking little bitch, Gridley.
there's a you've heard of
If you're expecting me to pay for that kind of answer, you got another thing coming. I trade with dwarves. They are close traders. I am not going to take a subpar product in exchange for whatever you're asking.
well, Abel.
I should have known not to put no trust in soothsayers.
I have a question for you. And this will help me answer your question. How far are you willing to go? Are you willing to?
Well, do you mean that literally or figuratively?
I mean, are you willing to call on Tempest? Are you willing to give yourself back over to him?
Am I willing to give myself to a god of war in order to end a war?
You don't have to answer that for me. But I will tell you, things will go very differently depending on what your answer is.
Well, come on, man. Which way do they go best?
For me,
Goddamn oracles, I tell you.
For me and for my forest, you giving yourself to the god of war would be very good. For Robert Hark, not so good. For Prince Adair, not so good.
All right. I just realized I've been asking the wrong person. And I take a step back and I cut a long slice in my palm and hold my fist up over my head and let the blood run down my arm. And I say, Tempest, you old son of a bitch, what is your will?
and a lightning bolt cuts through the forest, and you see Abel's hand light up in a sort of a fiery, bright white hot light, and only you hear this. Go to Lakeshire. Go to Lakeshire. And Griggly stands up and says, well, I guess I have my answer. Weal and woe it is. And he produces from his pack a book. And this book has a giant mouth with a mustache over top of it. And two small horns that sort of come out from the cover of the book. And he says, for any of you who want it, this is Griggly's course on curious magics. I gift this to you. Take the course, if you will, and let my will be done.
I tell you right now, I'm not touching that fucking thing.
I am way too curious, and with shaky fingers, I grab the book.
Okay. Nothing happens.
Phew.
And you can open it.
Kiss it. Kiss it. Kiss it.
Okay, I open it.
And everything is blank except for the first page. And the first page says, Lesson 1, Manipulating the Magics of Others. Tuition cost. Right index finger inserted into Griggly's mouth. Place left index finger on a blank page in your own wizard book.
Okay. I look up at him like he's crazy.
He says, this is the book.
And I
This is your secret to power and fame and speed and knocking men's head off in the fire and
I I shake my head. I open up my own spell book and put. It said my right finger down.
it says tuition cost. Right index finger inserted into Griggly's mouth.
Okay.
Place left index finger on blank page of your wizard book.
I put my left index finger down and I shake my head again and put my right index finger in his mouth.
What are you doing?
Okay, all right. So I need you to roll a DC 18 dexterity save.
All right, here we go. Come on, come on, come on.
What'd you get?
That's a 13.
Okay, so you failed that. So you are going to take 2d6, 10 damage,
10?
and you no longer have a right index finger.
Oh, God.
and on the page of your wizard book, you see the words forming, and it says wild counter. And let me tell you what this does. And you just learn it innately as it's sort of appearing in your book. This is a cantrip that can be upcast as a first, second, or third level spell. This acts almost exactly like the third level spell counterspell, except that when you cast it, it automatically triggers a contested spell check between two casters. So if you see someone casting a spell and you cast the wild counter, both casters are going to add their spell bonus and 2 times the level of the spell that they cast to the contested check. So in other words, if you cast this as a third level spell, you will add your spell bonus plus 6 to it, and the other person will add their spell level times 2 plus their thing, and whoever wins wins it. Whoever wins this check is going to roll on a wild table for the outcome. Higher is better. On this 1 to 20, there are lots of things that can happen. This should not be used unless
Absolutely necessary.
absolutely necessary. But the good news is that you, as you're sort of like reading and bringing this thing in, you see that a sort of little nubby halfling finger that is a completely different color than yours is now growing on your right hand. It's furry and it's about a third the length of your normal fingers, but it's fully flexible.
I can use it.
Yeah. And Griggly looks at you and says, "There are 4 other lessons."
Mm-hmm.
And
I just bow my head, close the book, back on up.
Are you holding on to the book then?
I'm holding on to the book. Anything I can buy in here?
he just kind of looks around, and it's just like some rocks in front of the fire.
Jonas, I don't think you'd want to pay the coin he'd ask for.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And he walks back over to you, Filner, and he touches your eyelids and he flips them up, and he says, "What would you like me to do with these? Would you like me to keep these on you?"
I don't see a disadvantage in having them,
Okay.
so I think I shall keep them.
Would you like me to give them to your friends as well?
So they may hear what I say, or so they may speak to Paraso.
Do you understand what these can do? They can connect you and create thin bonds that allow you to speak is too much, but emote to each other without anyone else hearing or seeing or noticing.
Yes.
I have a question. Do these connect him to the man who gave them to him?
Oh, of course, yes, definitely, of course.
Take them off, Filnir. We got to have a talk.
You think Waverly's been watching?
I think he's not going to like what happens next.
And Griggly goes, "Ooh!" May I?
Yes.
Griggly, do you offer your boon, your wheel with no conditions?
No. I have conditions.
Name your price.
My price is this. You must save the one named Despo.
Save Despo.
She will be killed. I would very much like to see her again.
How urgent is that mission?
Not urgent. She has, by my count, 2 moons to live.
She's a good woman. We'll do what we can to save her.
That would be all I can ask. And you see him, like, he sticks his fingers straight onto Filnir's eyes, and he pushes them in. His eyes. He's, like, just pushing down in his eyes.
Oh.
And as he does so, you hear a squealing coming from his belt loop and his pack where the staff is, and you hear the 2 Parasos call out in pain as well, and they both say, "Let me kill him, let me kill him, let me kill him, please, let me kill him." And then you don't hear him anymore, and the satyr pulls his hands back, and you see on his thumbs there is a sort of dark black skull on his right thumb fingernail, and on his other thumb fingernail he has just a word that says cloud sack on it, and he holds his thumbs over the fire until the 2 black stains burn off, and he says, "Okay, your connection is severed."
Thank you, I suppose.
No, my pleasure.
Can you tell us any more about what threatens Despo?
Waverly Cloudsack.
Shit.
She is his favorite, and that puts her in a very dangerous situation. He will become a desperate man very soon. When you don't return, when you don't bring Nara here, and when you seek out the gnome, he will realize he has but one choice, and he will use her.
Fellas, I meant to mention, we're not going back, and we're seeking out the gnome.
Wait, what? What?
Hold on a sec. I've thought this through. Cream Puff over here is following the will of a psychotic spear. But that spear seems pretty content to blow with the wind. Filnir, you're with us. Jonas, you like staying alive. More than that, you want to find out what's going on with your dad, and you want to resume your rightful place in Monterre. Monterre is, at least whoever's running Monterre now, maybe on good terms with Hark, but you know where Monterre's heart lies. It's not with these fellas. Pretty soon, if you're to take your rightful place, it's going to be bloodshed between you. That's just the way it's got to be. I am going to be bringing this war to a close as quickly and as quietly as I can, which I fear is going to be none too quick and none too quiet. But the first step is going to Lakeshire, and I fear the second is meeting up with this gnome who I know so much and yet so little about. So I guess the question really is, although it means making an enemy of the Hark army and Waverly Cloudsack, who's a scary son of a bitch, and possibly abandoning your store, are you fellas with me?
What about what happens to Despo while we're gone?
I don't know, but we've got 2 moons to figure it out.
I would think she might assume the worst has happened to us.
I'm more concerned about getting word to Mr. Percy.
If we get to Lakeshire, I may know somebody who can help us get word to Mr. Percy, but I don't know how quickly we can get there.
Would this person be, what's the word I'm looking for? Animate.
Yes, I know some people who presumably are still alive in Lakeshire. Yes,
you keep odd company is all I'm saying, Phil.
Fair enough. Fair enough. But
the people you know tend to be a little
rest assured,
off the beaten path.
Rest assured, I only know one spear. Although I suppose it's really 2 parts of one spear. Okay, yes, I understand why it's confusing.
Jonas?
So your plan is to leave from here and straight to Lakeshire.
Yes.
Is Shannara still there with us?
She's still there, yeah.
My plan is to, my God willing, engage in glorious combat, followed by a lengthy peace. And look on the bright side. We get to kill Willem Searchlight.
I'm in. That seals it. I'm in.
Well, I will say this. My standing next to the 2 of you does not in any way keep me safe. However, I still believe that my journey goes back to Monterre and that I need to resolve whatever's happening there. And the only way I'll be able to do that is if I'm with the 2 of you. So wherever you go, I'm going to go. So I'm in.
Hey, Nara, what about you?
I think my sister would have loved you. And I'm very, very sorry that her part in this was to be cut down by your sword, Filnir.
I am sorry as well.
What I would like to do is gather up some of my brethren and try and get her body before it's brought to Waverly Cloudsack. We all know what he does. Would you let me go?
Oh, Jesus Christ. Of the Orc Wars.
If you will let me go and get some of my brethren, I will point you in the way, the right way to Lakeshire, and I will retrieve her body. so we can have it at the very least an honorable burial, and at the very most, I might be in time to bring her back to our healers for her to find a new life, one without the curse of the staff.
And you can handle that without us.
And she like pulls her hands out from behind her back and shows you her hands. And she says, "Yes, I'll
Wait, she's free. She's free.
I'll be quite good."
Despo Good showers off limits.
That's the woman who was a man. Is that correct?
Well,
You
in the
noticed that,
parlance
huh?
of our times,
We
I
missed
might
that.
say that she was always a woman. However, her well, yes, okay, fine, yes.
Yes. Okay. I know the one. And if we are able to kill the creepy one,
Yes, please.
Oh yeah, we will not be offended.
okay.
Well,
Abel was kind of hoping to get that honor.
I mean, it's so rare that I get to do any killing that I might actually enjoy. He's a dangerous man. Don't take any chances.
Okay. Be well. Tempest speed to you all. And she takes off, and thus ends chapter 6 of the Dungeon Dads podcast. The Every War Must End. My goodness.
Oh my gosh.
That was a heavy one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I will tell you that you all have achieved your next level.
Oh yes, yes,
Hey.
yes, yes. Yes.
And Vilnir, your bond to Paraso is much stronger. You may add an extra first level spell from your Hexblades spell list, your extended spell list.
Okay.
That's pretty big, right? Don't warlocks only get like one spell?
Well, we got two
One spell.
slots.
One spell per
Yeah.
level they get.
Yeah.
So you
Oh, so he's not getting an extra slot.
not an extra slot. You get an extra spell in
Okay,
the
so
book.
from Xanathars.
Yep, you can have from Xanathars. Yeah. Oh, man. Yeah.
I like it.
Why'd you take my finger, Tom?
He gave you another one.
I gave you one back,
Yeah,
man. Come
I
on.
gave you a
Finger was
nubby.
reincarnated.
Fair's fair.
I gave you a nubby.
Now that wild counter sounds cool.
It's cool.
Yeah, I'm pretty excited about it.
I mean, I can tell you there's I was very disappointed when I looked because I was just going to like make this basically on the Sorcerer's Wild Magic table. But there's really only like one or two bad things that happened on the Sorcerer's Wild table. And that just
turn
wasn't
into a
going to do
vase.
for me. Yeah. But I'll tell you, here's one possible outcome. The spell is cast with double effectiveness, duration, and damage. And if it requires targets to save, they have disadvantage on the save. Or you absorb the
pretty great.
spell and may cast it as a bonus action or reaction at the time of your choosing. A spell absorbed in this way dissipates if you cast another one of Griggly's spells.
That's pretty awesome.
But I didn't take any more of Wrigley's.
Well,
yet.
you
Something tells me your hand is going to look real fucked up.
yeah.
Within the next 2 episodes.
Yeah.
I say within the next 2 episodes.
Yeah, it's pretty fucked up.
I'm still awfully
Well,
awfully curious.
I mean, and I don't know, the nice thing is if you can cast it as a reaction, no harm in just throwing it out there as a cantrip reaction.
I know that's the cool part. I was like,
Don't
wow,
waste a
cantrip.
slot. See if you make a good roll or not.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can always throw it out there.
Well, someone gets to roll on the table no matter what. So
Right, but I can at least, if something happens, I could still do it as a cantrip, whether it fails or saves.
Right.
Yeah.
Whether it
yeah,
works or
so if
not.
someone's casted, like if Waverly is casting a 4th level spell at you, for instance, I'm not saying that's going to
No.
happen, but
No harm in just throwing it out there as a cantrip and seeing
Yeah.
if you get a lucky roll.
well, except if
Except you
Waverly
got to roll on
wins,
the wild magic. Table.
if Waverly wins,
Oh.
he gets to roll on the wild magic table.
Gotcha.
So
Ah, shit. So
He
he could do
could.
a double
He could.
damage.
Or
on
he
him.
could spontaneously implode, right? Or
Yeah.
something.
Or he turned into a potted plant.
Combust.
Yeah.
Implode.
Like one of the things is this spell is cast without interruption, or all of one of the wizard's clothes, armor, belongings, except what they hold in their hands, suddenly appear in a neat pile in the most difficult to reach place within sight of the caster.
And I'm just naked.
Like, that's another possible outcome.
This is a great spell. I love this.
Yeah.
But man,
just cost a finger.
The plot has taken a turn.
It has taken a turn. Oh, I'm so happy to get you guys out of Hark Army.
Yeah.
What a bunch
Well, I
of
was gonna say,
nasties.
I finally feel like I have a purpose.
Good.
I've been casting around, like in The Jerk. He's like, I finally found what my special purpose is for. I feel like I finally found what my special purpose is for.
That's good.
And I got to tell you, you just jumped right in there, Sam. You're like, nope, this is what's happening.
Yep.
We were like, what?
Well, my God spoke to me
Yeah.
in a way that I was finally ready to hear.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Inspiration.
Well, you guys, we have to sign off. And do we have a...
I'm not real thrilled with that toodaloo thing.
No.
Yeah. I want to... Can we...
It's been a
Can
staple.
we-
It seems okay. Anyway.
I find it a fairly adequate way to sign off the episodes.
Yeah, well, I mean, if Toodaloo's
Friendly
not working...
but unassuming.
I mean, if Toodaloo's not working for you, Sam, what's going to work? What's going to work for you?
Shoot. God damn it. See, now I'm on the spot and I didn't bother to think of an adequate replacement. I was just going to shit on that one.
I was just hoping you'd have a nice big pause after shit. God damn it, and then that would be it.
Yeah.
We would just cut it there.
Yeah. And on 3. 1, 2, 3. God damn it! Thanks for listening, everybody. We are so proud of this podcast and this world that we're building together in the Breen. We really want to hear from you on social at Dungeon Dads Pod on Twitter, /r Dungeon Dads on Reddit, and Dungeon Dads on Facebook. We have shuttered our LinkedIn page because the resumes that came in were both, one, unsolicited and also 100% not what we were looking for, though the pictures were quite lovely. Keep living your best life, everybody. I was also super happy that there was near unanimous agreement from the community that Skywrite was in fact the best spell in D&D to have in real life. I salute the community who backed Polymorph, Teleport, Crown of Stars, Find Familiar, and Mass Suggestion with well-argued positions. We'll have to all just agree that I'm right on this one though, guys. Finally, as a small upstart, you can't imagine how important those scribes, fives, and recommendations are to getting the word out and helping us find our people. So now to thank you all for your efforts, my kids will read the best new Facebook recommendations and Apple Podcast reviews. Dungeon Dad Tyler Shackle on Facebook says,
I hate these guys. 5 out of 5 stars. Make sure you subscribe. Thank you, Tyler Shackle.
Dungeon Dad as time draws near, or maybe it's Hare Krishna, on Apple Podcasts says,
I honestly didn't think I was going to like these guys. But then, after listening through, I realized how real they are. They play D&D like how I play D&D. I can't wait for the new releases. Keep up the good work. Also, I love hearing about the kiddos. Hope my little guy gets into D&D someday. Thank you, Hare Krishna. Also, thank you as time draws near.
Dungeon Dad Joshua Kenupke on Facebook says,
Long-time D&D players, 35 plus years, and dad myself, I am loving this podcast. Great characters, great players, and the references, awesome. Thank you, Joshua Kenupke.
Dungeon Dad Cornhobbler on Apple Podcasts says,
A long time ago, I used to fear facing dragons and beholders. Then, I had kids. after changing a blown-out diaper with one hand while fixing a toy for a screaming toddler in the other, all while singing Baby Shark for the 4,000th time in a row. Fighting a dragon doesn't seem that hard. Dads know no fear. These guys are just a blast. A fun story, entertaining characters, and no diapers in sight. Baby emoji, shark emoji, do. Thank you, corn hobbler.
And finally, a new dungeon mom, Jamie Salavea on Facebook says,
Extremely interesting podcast, plus bonus episodes. I love the format. We love you, Jamie Salavania.
we love you, Jamie Salavea.
We love you, Jamie Salavena.
Okay, one more time. We love you, wait, say it to me. We love you, Jamie Salavea.
We love you, Jamie Salavania.
Salavea.
Salavea.
All right, do it again. Okay, ready? One more time. We love you, Jamie Salavea.
We love you, Jamie Salavania. Come back next week for another bonus episode with the dads.